My name is Marci Harness. I'm from Santa Cruz, California. I'm a victim of family court corruption and more corruption in Santa Cruz. It started with the domestic violence battery of my ex-husband on Mother's Day last year. We were married for 2 years, and he's German descent, type A personality, and he was abused by his mother as a child. He was in foster care, and his father lives an alternative lifestyle, and the father's lover actually is a sex offender of 2 different sex offenses in Oregon. So May of last year, and up until the time we separated, up until that, we had our relationship was fine. There was no problems. We have a marriage settlement agreement that we filed with the courts. And on Mother's Day, he pushed me in the park, and it was witnessed, and he was arrested for domestic violence and battery. And there was an emergency protective order served on behalf of my daughter and I for protection. And 8 weeks after that incident, he took custody. He breached our marriage settlement agreement and took custody because I was staying in a hotel because I was exposed to toxic mold in my home. I had to move out of my home. And somebody unknown contacted police and claimed that I was mentally unstable. And the police showed up at my door while my daughter was sleeping and took me to behavioral health, barefoot. At first they bruised me, they cuffed me, bruised me, left abrasions on me, took me to behavioral health, and I specifically told police who to release my daughter to, and somehow my ex happened to be driving by the hotel, and the police released my daughter to my ex. While I was at behavioral health getting a drug test, which was clean, within 1 hour he called for the ex parte, and it was granted the next day, and I lost her. I have no history of criminal history, no history of abuse or anything, and mental illness, nothing. And so they were hoping that I'd be on a 5150. I was not. The case is suppressed. When the police came, I've been trying to get that case for months, or over a year, and that case file is suppressed. It got filed as a 5150. I have proof that it's not. They're still not releasing it to me. I responded to the ex parte that he did. I got nothing. I got supervised visits, and I got a psych eval. And a week or 2 later, I realized I was in family court corruption. I actually had an attorney at the first hearing and realized he did nothing for me. My rights were violated. We didn't present any evidence. Father did not have to present any factual evidence to all his false allegations, misrepresenting me in his declaration. And so I got rid of the attorney and started filing my own orders. Nothing was getting approved. Nothing has been approved. And just started digging deeper. I have case file copies of file tampering and conspiracy and fraud. And then I started realizing the after-school program was alienating my daughter from me. I have a community care licensing board investigating Campus Kids Connection right now. They locked the doors during working hours because the only way I could see my child was at her after-school program. And the after-school program honored an invalid stay-away order. And so they've been reported, the investigation's in the process right now, but the woman that runs the after-school program is a criminal of grand and petty theft, possession of a controlled substance, possession of paraphernalia, and theft of personal property. Yeah, that's the criminal running the largest daycare in Santa Cruz County on site for elementary schools. Then the supervised visitor that I was assigned is a criminal for abandoning cars and has no physical office address. That's the only person they're giving me, not even a friend, nothing, court appointed. So the after-school criminal woman, the executive director, has a restraining order on me now. So because she went to court and they claimed I was harassing her even though it was facts, and I was spreading the word to parents about her factual history. The judge said it was harassment. I'm not allowed to go to the after-school program. So I haven't seen my daughter since February. The criminal case that Tom has on me, the last time I saw my daughter in February was at her karate class, and she had a look on her face like, "What did you do, Mom?" And I kept mouthing to her, "I love you, I love you." And then I realized his truck was unlocked, so I left before he could start. He didn't see me there because the last time he saw me there, he harassed me and held his phone up at me and said, what, I'm a pedophile? He was saying that about him. I go, why are you saying that about yourself? So I made sure he didn't see me this last time, and I left early, realized his truck was open. Well, this was when he was ignoring my proof of fraud. My email saying, "It's fraud, I have you, you're busted." I didn't realize how big the ring of criminals are, so I put the piece of paper that he was ignoring of the email of fraud in his truck and left and cried and called my advocate. Well, he took me to court and got a domestic violence restraining order for me putting a piece of paper in his truck of an email that he was ignoring about fraud. And I haven't seen my daughter since. I can't, or I'll be arrested. I violated, apparently, the restraining order because I delivered a present for my daughter in his driveway that's now under surveillance during the day while he was at work and she was at school. Police officers showed up at my door at 1 a.m. later on that night, said I could be arrested right then and there, but they're too busy to arrest me, so I'm getting a ticket. And then I had to go pre-book myself 10 days before the hearing. Pre-book. Go down and pre-book and nobody had ever heard of that, so I didn't do that. That was a setup. But the officer gave me twice, told me 10 days before, go pre-book yourself. So didn't do that, showed up in court, realized the case is going to trial. I said, no, I plead no guilty. I'm not guilty. I delivered a present. Well, nope, doesn't matter, you get a public defender now. So I got a public defender. She's lied to me, clearly because the DA has already trying to prosecute me under another case number, which I had mentioned earlier, where that's what I found out yesterday when I reviewed case file and was denied everything, that the DA, the day I went to court for violating the restraining order for present delivering, was the day the DA wrote that letter saying, please file this under such and such case number, a different name, Aaliyah Maloney, or was not even my name, and we need this to aid in prosecution. And then right under it, in handwriting, circled, case number, my case. So the memo has one case in it, and then it says case number under it, mine. It's in my file. And the DA, the public defender hasn't gotten back to me as to my trial hearing date. Yeah.
Now, let me get this straight. Who pays the public defender?
We do.
No.
No, the DA, the county.
The county. Who pays the prosecutor?
County.
And who pays the judge?
County.
How does that seem to work for you?
No. And I emailed the public defender today, and I said, how does a public defender defend the public like me in cases like this? Please advise me, let me know.
Well, they'll do like they did with the sweet lady who was here before you. Tell you to take a plea.
Right. And
then you become a convicted felon.
Well, I pleaded not guilty, and I was supposed to have a trial. And they've skipped that, clearly, because the DA is going for prosecution.
Well, if you pled not guilty and you went for a trial, you're supposed to have a jury.
I know, but that's when the DA started this new case to aid in prosecution. I have the file. We might want to film that, or I just got it from the case file yesterday. It says it right. I mean, you can see it.
What about your 22-year-old daughter calling CPS?
Yeah.
Calling CPS.
I have a 22-year-old daughter that I was a single mom. I raised her on my own. My ex-husband put fear in her, his temper. I raised her on my own because we didn't get married, or we weren't together till she was like 12 or 13. So she did not want him as a stepfather. And my daughter is 22. She lives in Boise, Idaho. She's called CPS for me. I've had about 8 or 9 letters written to the DA on my behalf about I'm a great dedicated mother. I've always been there for my children. None of those have come into play at all.
So your 22-year-old daughter says, hey, I've got a great mom and nobody wants to pay any attention.
Yep, she goes to college, she's got a job, she volunteers. Yeah.
What's the age of, are we talking about one child?
My oldest is 22, but the one we're talking about today is Adara, and she's now 8.
Okay, so we're talking about an 8-year-old
Mm-hmm.
child.
And he's never been a parent before, and he works full time.
Have you said the name of your,
No,
about the biological father? Do you want to?
Thomas Harness.
Okay.
Hmm.
And what's his occupation?
He's a systems analyst for VMware. So he's pretty high up in computers, programming.
Tell about how he's using your identification to get her under the health.
Yeah, it looks like there's Medi-Cal fraud I've reported. So I have an investigation on CPS via HHS Civil Rights that I opened through San Francisco. That's happening right now. Then I also have the investigation on with CommuniCare licensing on the after-school program, and then I just got notice about Stop Medi-Cal fraud is opening up a case because I got a medical card. I've had to go on public assistance, and my daughter got a card before me, 3 months before me, and it was issued by administrative member, and then I got my card, and they don't match up at all. Like there's no location or anything because my daughter's been in intense therapy, weekly therapy, yes, to deal with the separation anxiety, all of it. The parent alienation, all of that, and I'm sure it's assigned through the county because Santa Cruz Community Counseling Center is the people that fund the Papa's SFI program in Santa Cruz, and the Board of Trustees, one of the Board of Trustees member is the judge who gave my ex custody. So she gets the money right from SAC, from Social Services, the father engagement money, and it gets issued, and she's on that board of trustees of where it gets issued. And I've already reported this to Department of Social Services. So that's the affiliation there, and the Santa Cruz Community Counseling Center is set up for public assistance for people that are on that need counseling and that don't have the money to pay for it. That's what they're set up for. So I believe my ex is tired of paying for the counseling because they thought that they'd have me by now in some psych ward or whatever, and so he got a card issued. In fact, my advocate tried to intervene one day when he was picking up and said, why don't you do mediation, because he's got to skip that altogether. Why don't we do something other than this psychological angle? I mean, it's like you want to put her in a hospital and put a needle in her arm. He goes, oh, we would have done that if we could. That's how he responded. So admits they want me either drugged up or they want to control me, I guess. And I've caught their corruption. So he was probably tired of paying for counseling because he's never done any counseling for his abuse. None. So he was horribly abused by his mother. Never did any counseling for that. And he's probably tired of paying for the counselor for his 7-year-old daughter when he's the abuser and he's the one that needs counseling.